What's good, guys? I have a different kind of video than usual. Today I will be ranking my top 20 favorite anime MCs. Now, I want to make sure everyone's ears are open right now. My top 20 favorite anime MCs. Yes, to some degree, I think these guys are the cream of the crop. But again, I don't want to see in the comments, what? You don't have this guy from this random isekai that came out 2 days ago? Clearly not if he's not on the list. A lot of these characters just connected with me in such a way that it's hard to describe. So I'm going to give you guys a brief summary of why I have each person in their spot. I will say the top 11 to 20 is always subject to change, but the top 10 is extremely firm. Without further delay, let's just jump straight into it. At 20th, a new face that I've been enjoying as of recently is Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers. After watching the first season of Tokyo Revengers, I was always more of a Mikey fanboy if anything, but Takemichi as of recently has been really growing on me. He always finds himself in situations where he's at a disadvantage, facing physically stronger opponents or overwhelming odds. He doesn't whip out some magical tool or have some demon clutch up for him, but his victories are often hard-earned and they rely more on determination, which I find really enjoyable. At 19th, Edward Elric from Full Metal. Ugh, I knew it, cornball, he'll probably have some harem MC at 1. Listen, Edward is a terrific character. I just didn't connect with him as much as other MCs on this list. Full Metal was one of my first anime I watched, and watching Edward fight to bring back his younger brother and his arm was amazing. It's Edward's ideals and growth as a character that I loved so much. He learns that trying to play God and bring back life is impossible, so through his trials and tribulations, he fights to at least bring his younger brother back from suffering. At 18th, Senku from Dr. Stone. This was probably one of the first new gens I watched and was like, oh yeah, this is fire. This man is going to be the reason civilization comes back. Watching Senku use his genius in so many different ways to overcome obstacles or invent cool things is way better than any science class. It's also his witty comments and fast thinking that makes the show 10 times more enjoyable. At 17th, Meliodas from 7 Deadly Sins. I knew it, he likes perverts over Edward! Bro, how are you still here? I think I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed 7 Deadly Sins even after the extremely poor animation. Why, you might ask? Because of this man right here. I just love the way the entire cast has always been drawn in by Meliodas, as well as his funny and goofy personality. Even before his backstory and how much he's been going through, I still enjoyed his character quite a bit. Plus, hearing him say full counter in sate 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 was stuck in my head on repeat for days. At 16th, Joseph Joestar from JoJo. Wait, too old? Hello, I said too old. There we go. When I tell you Joseph is one of the few characters to actually make me laugh out loud again and again and again. Like, how is this man attending his own funeral and causing a commotion doing so? Aside from how hilarious he is much different than what you see from most shonen MCs, and because of this, I enjoyed his character very much. At 15th, Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. Ichigo is without a doubt one of the most misunderstood MCs I've ever seen in anime history. The amount of comments I see about this man being bland is nothing but false accusations. Nearly all MCs use words to express what they want, how they feel, or what their dreams are. Ichigo doesn't do that. His actions do that. He's as realistic as they come. He hides his feelings, he hides his suffering, his actions speak louder than his words, and that's just a small portion of his character that I adore. At 14th, Yukihiro Soma from Food Wars. Soma is another one of those badass characters like Ichigo that get you invested in their character early. Food Wars as a whole was always entertaining to me because of the Shokugekis and the large cast of characters, but Soma always had his own twist on it. Plus, in the early arcs of Food Wars, his back was against the wall and watching him prevail was mesmerizing. Then again, he did do it to himself for announcing to everyone that he'd take the top seat, but it was also his confidence in his own ability to cook that made his character so very enjoyable. At 13, Simone from Gurren Lagann. The definition of starting from the bottom now we're here. Simone's development is the main selling point for why he's so high for me. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks, Simone demonstrates incredible courage and determination. He refuses to give up even in the face of seemingly impossible odds and continues to fight for what he believes in. This man lacked so much confidence in the beginning of the series and relied a lot on other characters throughout the show, but learned to build confidence in himself. If you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, this is my PSA for you. It's a must watch. At 12, Shigeo Kageyama, or better known as Mob from Mob Psycho 100. Mob was at one point in my top 10, but due to recent mangas I've read, he's been knocked down. But honestly, Mob's character is perfect. Despite his incredible powers, Mob remains humble and down to earth. He doesn't seek recognition or praise for his abilities, and is often downplayed for his accomplishments. Additionally, Mob's interactions with other characters, particularly his mentor Reagan, are some of the best moments you get while watching. Their humor infused with levity adds depth to his character and makes him endearing for the audience. For a character that looks bland, he's definitely a lot better than some of your favorite MCs. At 11, Gon from Hunter x Hunter. I don't even know if this is a hot take, but he's my favorite character from Hunter x Hunter 2. He's definitely overlooked considering that we have so many flashy and intriguing characters in the series. But Gon is pretty fascinating himself even before the change of character during the Chimera Ant arc. He didn't play the typical shonen MC role like a lot of people think, but was a lot more selfish towards his own goals and didn't consider others like certain shonen MCs. People just failed to notice this for his linear goal and immense cast. And his rage moment during the Chimera Ant arc is one of my favorite scenes in anime. Alright, now we're getting serious with my top 10 favorite MCs. Starting the list off strong with Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't even need to explain much. If you've watched Yu Yu, then you know exactly what this man is doing here. Unfiltered, badass, confident, kind-hearted, life-changing. I can keep going. His character does a complete 180 in terms of development. And for another show with such a strong cast, he has a strong argument for being the best in the series. He starts off as a delinquent with a tough exterior and a rebellious attitude. As the story progresses, he matures emotionally and morally, gradually revealing his compassionate and heroic nature. His journey as a troublemaker to a selfless hero is compelling and well executed. If you think otherwise, you're a hater. Simple. At 9th, Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. To some of your surprise, believe it or not, Luffy is not my favorite MC, even though being the face of the channel. Nonetheless, I still love Luffy's character. Luffy is another one of those characters who just draws everyone towards his cause by being himself. His goofy dumb self is a shonen trope you see often for MCs, but I don't understand when Luffy does it, it doesn't feel overused. He goes through a terrific amount of development throughout the show, and it isn't in your face, but it's a lot more subtle. Also, a crazy amount of character peaks, which is expected for such a long-running shonen. Gear 5, for example, was a generational experience that I went through. Reading those chapters come out weekly was a type of enjoyment I couldn't even explain. At 8th, Fujiwara Takumi from Initial D. I watched Initial D during a point when I thought there wouldn't be any more media that could impress me until I discovered Takumi. Takumi's not your typical hero. He's not flashy or seeking of glory. Instead, he's a seemingly ordinary high school student who works part-time at a gas station. However, what makes him stand out is his exceptional talent for street racing, particularly his downhill races on Mount Akina. His unamusing demeanor adds depth to his character and makes his racing prowess all the more surprising. Initially, he sees racing as just a way to make some extra money delivering tofu for his father's business. As he becomes more involved in the street racing scene, he hones his skills and develops a passion for racing that goes beyond simply earning a paycheck. His journey is not just about becoming a better street racer, but also about discovering his own identity and aspirations. To find joy in a character like this from street racing was absolutely beyond me, but I loved every bit of it. At 7th, the true black swordsman, Guts from Berserk. I'm not going to sit here and sound like an elitist and tell you all the profound and deep reasons for why Guts is so thematically deep and symbolic, but wow, did this man suffer a tremendous amount. Despite facing countless challenges and betrayals, Guts remains remarkably resilient and determined. He refuses to succumb to despair or even give up on his quest for revenge against Griffith. His unwavering resolve in the face of adversity is both inspiring and admirable. If you read Berserk and didn't feel inspired by Guts' actions, you gotta go reevaluate something. At 6, Lelouch v Britannia from Code Geass. GOAT status right here. Kinda like Mob, I consider his character to be perfect. Lelouch is smart, ambitious, badass, cocky but in a fun way, but at the same time, he's more grounded than other MCs. On the surface, he is a charismatic and intelligent young man who possesses extraordinary strategic judgment. However, beneath his confident facade lies a deep conflicted individual grappling with the sense of justice and morality and a personal vendetta. Lelouch's inner turmoil and complex motivations make him a fascinating and compelling protagonist. His strategic genius, emotional complexity, and magnetic charisma makes him a captivating anti-hero you can't help but root for, even as he blurs the lines between heroism and villainy. I used to walk around my house saying,
I, Lelouch v Britannia, command you. Now all of you, die.
At 5th, Denji from Chainsaw Man. One of my favorite aspects about Fujimoto is his willingness to subvert or buck shonen tropes. I could never put Denji in a category with other MCs because of how different Denji is. Let's say you had to predict whether the MC would save a person from dying or a cat. Who would you pick? Duh, obviously the cat. Denji is far from the typical shonen protag. He doesn't want to be anything big, he just wants to enjoy the beauty of life. This is because of how much he suffered and went through. Like, this guy sold an eye and his balls for money at one point. Denji is just a young man who wants and needs physical intimacy. Is that too much to ask for? He's in my top 5 because I relate with him. Don't judge. At 4th, Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. It's crazy because I loved his character originally for the brute savage he was during the first season, but after picking up the manga and catching up to the recent chapters, I understood how much your past decisions really could affect your future. Thorfinn just wants to be a kinder and gentler person, and watching him go on this journey to not only find Vinland, but to discover who he is was life-changing. His character made it into my top 5 because of how inspirational Thorfinn was to me. He wants to change himself and stop killing completely, but faces times where he's forced to kill but doesn't. And these teachings could easily be applied into our everyday lives. His journey inspires me to confront my own internal struggles and challenges, encouraging me to strive for a personal growth and reconciliation with my past mistakes. At 3rd, Naruto Uzumaki from Naruto. Same reason as Thorfinn, Naruto's character is such a huge inspiration to me. Naruto was shunned from the village and would cause issues within the village to get attention, but he strives for his goal of becoming Hokage even though no one believed in him. Naruto fights against the cycle of hatred and seeks to break it through understanding and forgiveness. He extends empathy and compassion even to those who wronged him, embodying the ideal that true strength lies in forgiveness and reconciliation. He matures emotionally and mentally, learning from his experiences and striving to become a better person and ninja. His growth from a reckless and impulsive child to a responsible and compassionate leader is a central aspect of his character. Plus, he has the best dynamic and parallel in all of animanga, and that's a fact, and it's not up for debate. At 2nd, Musashi Miyamoto, or better known as Takuzo from Vagabond. I think you guys are starting to see a pattern for my top 5 MCs here, but Takuzo's character really shattered my way of thinking. Takuzo exists in a morally ambiguous world where the line between right and wrong is often blurred. Due to this, he was a brash and violent young man, driven by the desire for strength and recognition as a swordsman. However, as the story goes, he undergoes significant internal growth as his journey towards self-discovery and enlightenment is one of a kind. I honestly can't really tell you guys why I love him so much without spoiling it, but watching him change himself for the better seriously brought tears to my eyes when reading. At the number 1 spot for my favorite animanga protagonist is none other than the greatest anti-hero in animanga, Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Is this a basic answer? Absolutely, but Eren has such a great resume for being everyone's favorite MC. I've never seen an MC fight, suffer, overcome, endure the way Eren did for freedom. He witnesses the cruelty of the Titans early in his life and is driven by the fervent desire to eradicate them and secure the freedom of humanity within the walls. On top of this, his growth is one to remember, as we quite literally watch him change every season, and I mean you can really see the difference from season 1 to the very end. His ideals that he so heavily followed also made it so enjoyable. It's pretty much the opposite of what Itachi did. Itachi sacrificed his family for the village, while Eren sacrificed the world for his family. So in my eyes, he did nothing wrong. Eren always referred to humanity within the walls cattle, waiting to be slaughtered. So he fought for a change so he and the people he loved wouldn't be cattle any longer. Anyways, this concludes my favorite animanga MCs. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, be sure to like the video and subscribe because it helps me as a creator know that I'm doing something right. Comment down below your top 5 favorite MCs so I can see how similar our taste is. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.